Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA with Michael King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, welcome back to a special edition of Home Talk USA right here on the Genesis Communication Radio Network at GCNlive.com, along with my sidekick and co-host, the Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton. Rita, I tell you, we got a great show for our guests and a whole bunch of great inventors.
Brandon is our next guest, and he has got a really cool product, and you're going to love this. Brandon has not been on the show with us before. His product name is AR Parts Holding Template, and that in and of itself doesn't tell you a whole lot, but I'm going to let him tell us about the product. And Brandon, a little bit of an introduction for you is thank you so much for being with us today. And, you know, he started out in the dental field helping people transition to, you know, you're not going to believe the transition to this product that he invented. And he took it 1 week at a time and one step at a time, which is what we normally like to see. But he's sold over 400 units of his first product. He's in 52 stores. How cool is that? So, Brandon, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And tell us, what is AR Parts Holding Template?
Good afternoon, Rita and Mike. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Perfect. So during the shutdown, a lot of my friends, neighbors, and coworkers and customers recruited me to help them with AR rifles because I am a competitive shooter on the weekends. And you couldn't actually, during the shutdown time, buy a whole rifle. You had to piece it together. And I wasn't happy with some of the mats that were on the market and some of the diagrams or YouTube videos that had 500,000 views, but really poor lighting, guys misidentifying parts. And so I actually made something myself out of cardboard for a rapid prototype and kept developing it. And now I have a wood template that holds every part for an AR-15 for you. And I walk you through step-by-step 1 through 31 how to complete it safely, and a live action and an animated video to walk you through a step-by-step guide. And now I set up at gun shows. I go to gun shops, military shops, pawn shops, and sell my product, and trying to go coast to coast eventually.
Well, we would love to have you advertising on our show because I actually have an AR-15. And I'm not going to tell you where it's at, but I do have one. So that is something that I would need and appreciate. So when you were going through your steps, all right, how did you decide when you needed help that you couldn't do yourself? Because with your background and your experience, you were able to do a lot of it yourself, which another inventor might not be able to. But everybody's got to have a service provider at some point. How did you decide what and who?
Definitely. With my sales background, I was able to do the sales portion, but everything else with graphic design, with videography, with actually the machining part, I had to look for help. And so I met with engineers. I paid some people for blocks of time that I found out, because not everyone charges by the hour. Some people will actually sell you a block of their time in 5-hour or 10-hour increments, and you're able to use that sparingly for when you have questions. And so I had actually found someone that had a CO2 laser, and they made my first prototype out of foam. I actually paid $400 for a piece of foam, surprisingly. But it looked like what I wanted it to look like. It did what it was going to do, and I just kept refining it. And if you ever pick up one of my newest models, it's actually called the Mark 7 because it's gone through so many reiterations of what I originally thought versus what's on store shelves. And that's something I try to tell other people, that once you make it, it's not an end-all, be-all. It's going to make changes. It's going to develop. People are going to ask questions about it. People are going to try to do things with it that weren't intended for. Pick it up, snap it in half, turn it around, and you've got to make it pretty foolproof, and it's got to be able to go through changes. So I had eventually kept contracting, like I said, a videographer. I made an animation. I did my own video editing. Or when I did a live action, I recruited marketing for like flyers and sell sheets because I knew what I wanted to do with like a features and benefit sheet, but I had to keep developing it. I had a website made and an e-commerce because I wanted to be able to sell my product, of course, and just every month found out something new I needed with shipping, with manufacturing, with plastic molds, and so I would keep seeking those people out. Luckily, I'm in a major city, so I had a lot of resources. I could go contact people and ask questions and just show up at their door. And, of course, some of them I'd get turned down because they wanted an increment of like 500 units just to work with me. And being a single-phase person, I'm looking at making these in batches of 50. There was no way I was going to buy 500 pieces or 5,000 pieces of plastic or pay to have a mold made. So I had to start learning what was already out there to use it and keep developing it, keep making it better, changing specs, and it's been a great experience, and I really like the operational side of what I've learned and what I can apply moving forward.
So, well, that's great. What lessons can you share with our listeners?
One lesson I would say is, even if you have a product, let's say you need packaging for it, there are packaging already out there for, say, comic book cases or mass makeup that you can use, and the mold's already done. I thought it would be really inexpensive to do like a thermofold mold of my product and just have it melted over, and that's not exactly what I found out with how much CNC machining you have to have of reverse molds and mother molds. So I learned a lot that you can use some things for packaging. Even if you have a new product, a new widget that you're making, don't get stuck on the packaging that has to be perfectly fit for you. Know that there's some packaging out there that you can put it in.
Brandon, I don't mean to cut you off, but the music's playing. So we will have your website listed on our site, but give everybody your website real quick.
Sure, it's under B Kollar, which is BKOLLAR.com, or if you just search in any search engine, AR Parts Holding Template, I'm the only one that pops up, AR Parts Holding
Excellent.
Template.
Brandon, thank you so much for being with us, and we are off to pay some bills. Have a great weekend, everybody.